What's cracking, everybody? Ryan here from AUSHAMMER, coming to you on the Sunday here in Australia and back in time 14 hours in the States. Is a good friend of the show and a personal Freeguild hero of mine, Mr. Paul Mathhammer Conti. How are you going, mate?
Oh, things are doing well. How's it going, all you fine nerds out there?
There better be some fine nerds out there.
There better be. There better be a lot of them.
So today is list off episode 1, and your first cab off the rank, first victim. I'm very sorry to make you the first victim, but somebody had to do it, man. And I'd just like to go through, I guess, the list off a little bit first, and then get into your list, but also a little bit about why you chose that list and the army itself, why it's special to you, because I know that you're a Freeguild player, which is something that's close to my heart as well. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be probably one of my personal favorites, if not the best one, because me and you, man, army-wise, just, yeah. But before we get into that, actually, I just watched your video on on a certain Stormcast mini with what I like to call the shit ticket of pain. Do you want to go into that?
Yeah, so I was building the Knight of Zeros. And, you know, I've seen these models around before. I actually haven't played against Stormcast that many times, so I actually, you know, I'm not, like, super familiar with the problem. I've heard a lot of people talk about, like, oh, yeah, I've got to find some way to get, like, all my prosecutors and all of that, you know, like, mounted up on some kind of, like, pedestal or something, make it look like they're leaping off to make it look cool. I didn't realize, like, how shitty the model design is, and, like, how like, there's these, like, two little, like Vince called it, like, magic toilet paper that is coming off of the asses of these guys and connecting to the base. And first of all, like, it, like, without gluing it to the base, the model does not stand up on its own.
Yeah, no, they're really bad.
Once you do glue,
I think that's what you're talking about there, yeah?
Yeah, like those just, like, little, like, party streamers coming off of them.
Party streamers, yes.
Some bizarre language. Yeah. And the thing that I didn't really think about before I actually started working on this army is, like, those are really flimsy. And, like, you can just, like, hold the bottom of the base and it just kind of go, like, it's a giant spring. You can just kind of go boing and the thing rocks around. And I'm like, this is going to immediately break as soon as I put it in a box. Like, and at very least, it's going to look really stupid when I move this thing across the board and it's just, like, wobbling back and forth, like, trying to intimidate the enemy, maybe? I don't know. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, that toilet paper is getting cut up. It is getting mounted on some sort of rock formation. I'm not playing this game, GW. This is not cool. I understand the desire to not use the stupid acrylic sticks anymore. Fully on board for no acrylic sticks. But, like, magic toilet paper is not the answer.
I would definitely have to agree. It's probably second only to their freaking wings. When you're trying to put them in a unit with, like, prosecutors or something like that, and their wings all fucking get together, and you just can't.
Yeah.
You're supposed to keep this 1 inch freaking distance between them, like, maximum, and you just can't. And that was frustrating enough. And then you go to build stuff, and they got their shit tickets hanging from them. And you're right, like, that sound effect you were doing in your video, you're like, boing, that's all I'm going to be able to think about now. Every time I put one of them on the table and it starts to wobble a little bit, I'm just going to have Paul in my ear. Boing. I'm going to go, God damn it. Going to have to change the whole list. Going to have to cut them up or something. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what you do. Like, I've seen some people just stick them on top of a pillar. They cut the shit ticket off, stick them on top of a pillar, stick the bird somewhere else on the fucking base, and then that's it. They're like, yep, that's it. He's jumping off a pillar. You're done. Thanks for nothing, GW. Those toilet paper rolls, just, yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that I haven't figured out yet, and I built the Knight of Zeros, not the Knight Venator, so, like, the bird isn't really an issue. So he's like, unless I decide to put it on there like for decoration. Like,
yeah,
I was looking at it though, like, how does that attach to the model? Like, where does that go?
It's really difficult, right? Because the base isn't the biggest base either. For what the mini is, and he's quite a big mini. So you've got to like position this bird just right. And I use them anyway, just like aesthetics. It looks pretty cool, and it was part of the box. So I'm like, I might as well use it. But he just gets in the way as well because he's got bloody wings. Everything's got wings on the base, and there's toilet paper going everywhere. It's a mess. It's a mess. But you have to take him. He's Nidozeros is too good not to take at the moment. So
yeah,
just gonna have to cut off the
serious consideration for me for getting allied into Freeguild lists. Because handgunners being like 2-up is good already, but like 2-up re-rollable than a 2-up is just that much better.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that there's a lot of guys roaming around now with armies that can like neg 1 to hit, so as well. So if you've got that backup, like you just sit them behind your handgunners, or I don't know if you could do this, but I wonder how we would go with helping out the your rockets or your cannons as well. The island stuff.
Yeah, that definitely. Well, the cannons it wouldn't really work with because you'd usually be using a cannon with an engineer, so the engineer is already giving you a reroll to hit.
Can you still use the engineer though, or is it that gun master dude now?
Oh yeah, the gun master. First of all, I have to gripe about this. Just another complete tangent to go off on. Why doesn't he have a pigeon bomb anymore?
Yeah, it was like the best thing about it.
That thing,
right? It was random, but it was the best part of it.
Yeah, I mean, in 8th edition, you never took it, but in AOS, like that pigeon, like you just strap a bomb to him and he does some work. Like when you're in a pinch, like it killed some things. And then they changed the scroll and took it off.
Yeah, that was Heartbreak Hotel for me.
Yeah,
because I was looking at I've got like 3 of them, and I'm just looking going, I'm sorry guys, this it's not going to happen again. But just hold on to the hope that one day someone's going to be like, hey dude, do you want a game at 8? For old time's sake.
Yeah, well, I'm working on converting all of my Freeguild stuff onto round bases, so I think the prospects of ever playing 8th edition will be gone after that.
Man, I am avoiding it like the freaking plague because, like, right now I'm looking at 90 handgunners and 80 Freeguild guard that are all on square bases. And when I bought most of them, it was during AOS, when AOS had already come out, and they still came with square bases, not round bases. So me being this noob that I was, just went, oh, yep, duk, 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 like almost 200 times. And look, if you're going to do yours, can I just send you mine as well? And you just sort of batch base all of them?
For money?
God damn it. Isn't friendship enough for you, Paul?
Yeah. I mean, my situation isn't that bad. I've got 40 handgunners I need to rebase and 30 great swords I need to rebase. I already went through like one great rebasing before. So most of my army's already on rounds. There's still some stragglers though. And I'm pissed. I just like bought a batch of 25 mil rounds off of eBay, and it was from some like knockoff dealer in China, and the things got to me, and they are not in fact actually bases. They're these like little round discs that are flexible. And I was so mad about it.
Dude, I've actually done the exact same thing. I'm looking for the packet now. I thought I'd done it as well, but when I bought them and they arrived, they're like foam, and you pull off the plastic on both sides, and they're fucking sticky. I've just bought like, I don't know, sticky discs. What the? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, What I will say though is I complained on eBay and they gave me a full refund. So I can't complain that much other than it being really annoying.
See, that's okay. So you've got one up on me. I bought it off wish.com. It's some random site. I don't know. Like you can buy like watch knockoffs and all sorts of stuff on it. But I got them off there and I was like, oh, $2? Like that's just shipping. I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll buy 100. So now I've got 100 sticky discs. I don't know what I'm going to do with 100 sticky discs. Like hang 100 pictures on a wall or something. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to find some use for them just for the amusement of it,
right? All right. So I'm glad that we've managed to sort of get that out of our system. That little gripe. Is there anything else about Stormcast? Because I know you're now coming into Stormcast. Welcome to the club, brother. I'll send you a jacket.
Yeah.
Have you found anything else that's really sort of pissed you off? Because I think we were talking earlier about the Lord Salison on Dracoth, or the chicken
terrible.
dragon.
Yeah. See, here's the thing about Stormcast that I'm finding. Like, their stuff is either really good or really terrible. Like, there are certain things that are like just fantastic. Like, I love Retributors. Like, they are
yes.
like so solid, and there are certain battalions and abilities. I don't want to spoil too much. I've been doing a little Mathhammer and some Theory Hammer with some other folks. I don't think we're quite ready to spill the beans on the ridiculous abusive list that we're working on yet. But you can do some really mean stuff with Stormcast, and I didn't realize until I actually like bought the book, started reading through all of the stuff, read it over and over and over, and start connecting the dots and say, oh God, this is broken. This is why this army is on the top tables all the time. And it's like some of the things that I'm looking at, I'm like, people aren't even talking about this. They're not even using these abilities, and this is on the top tables.
Yeah. There's like Star Soul Maces. I think they originally got like this little good rep, and then they sort of just tap it off, and people stop talking about them. And then the other day I was talking to a friend of mine from my local club, who said, "Have you read the rule for Star Soul Maces?" And I was like, not in ages, because you just take them and then boom boom, you do some killies with them and it's done. Like it's the most simplest weapon ever. You don't even need to roll shit for them. And he said, yeah, but I think it's in both your turn and your opponent's turn, and we're reading over the rule, and we're trying to decipher whether or not you actually use it twice in each phase. Because it doesn't actually specify in your combat phase. It says, I think it's in each or every combat phase. So do you actually get to use Star Soul Maces twice?
Yeah, I mean, it's a melee ability. You can just do that in your opponent's turn too, of course.
See, I've had Stormcast for like 2 years. I've never done that. And now that I look at it, I'm thinking, shit, that is so broken. Like when you've got 2 units of Retributors, right, that already smash face when you get a 6, but then you've got 2 Star Soul Maces in each unit as well, both going twice. Like that's fucking broken. I love it.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about Freeguild here.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Since we're on a tangent already about Stormcast, I am currently working on brewing a list with Stormcast and Retributors, doing some crazy combo buff stacking that actually gives them higher damage output if you arm them without any Star Soul Maces.
Ah. Don't say any more. Don't say any more until it's on a table at a GT. That's what I'm going to say. Because
and it teleports into your opponent's face.
Lightning Chariot teleport or other form?
No.
Oh, good God. That's going to be filth, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
But that's what
Yeah.
Stormcast are good at, man. That's what they're there for. They're supposed to be Sigmar's heavy hitters. They're supposed to smash face, and they're supposed to be up there. They're the poster boys. So I think
Yeah.
I reckon GW's purposely built that with that in mind, saying, yeah, we need to make sure that these guys are there at these tables because they're our poster child. And it would just be messed up not to have Stormcast and Corn and stuff like that up there in those top tables. So
yeah, it's really disappointing to me that like the Corn Bloodbound are not better than they actually are. Like the fact that it's really like Corn Bloodbound as like the supplement to tons and tons of bloodletters. That's like the thing. I would love to see like the Bloodbound actually be good.
I have to agree. They're still hard though. Like I still have trouble fighting them on the table.
Yeah.
But there's just missing something like that other armies have. They're missing. It's just there's just this little mechanic somewhere, and you can't pin what it is. But there just needs to be a subtle change somewhere, or something added that's just going to change them completely. And who knows? It might be next year that we see something. You never know.
Yeah, they need like a new unit release or something like that that just like fills in the right hole, or like it, I mean, I thought it was going to be like the Gore Pilgrims Battalion out of the Blades of Corn book, but like, even that is like that just makes the Murder Host better. Like like it doesn't really improve anything else that much.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe not artillery, but something shooty McShoot. Like something, so the answer to the Judicators, I think, is what they need, and I don't think it's the Hell Cannon. Like, it'd be good to see them with some sort of shooting. I think that'd change everything for me. If I saw like somebody go, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to play my Corn Bloodbound," and I've really got to focus on some range units today, I'd be like, "Oh, fuck, what am I going to do?" Like that'd change everything for me. So.
Yeah, I think what would really like improve them a lot and stick with the fluff of the army is if they just got some special abilities that got them to move faster.
Oh, hell yeah.
If they just got across the table faster, problems solved. Like that's why Murder Host is good. Like it just runs across the table and does tons of mortal wounds to your opponent. Like if you could do that with, your Skull Reapers instead, like Skull Reapers are like math-wise just about as good as Bloodletters in a lot of ways. And they're a hell of a lot tougher than Bloodletters, but there's not really anything that gets them across the table anywhere near as fast as Bloodletters.
Which is like that's no little thing, being tougher than Bloodletters, because like I see them coming for me and that's it. I'm like, oh no, who's going to take these hits? Is it going to be the Liberators or is it going to be the Retributors? What am I going to, because they're massive, man. They show up and once they get there, that's it. They just dish out fucking shit everywhere. They're tough as nuts now. Yeah.
And they got hurt bad with the rules changes or not rules changes, but the points changes in GHB 2017. Because they went up in points. I just did the math. They went up 28%. Like,
oh, geez, I didn't know it was that much.
Ridiculous. Yeah, they went up 40 points.
That's a lot, but they do a lot though. Like, you don't need many of them. But look, I think I'd be a little bit biased because I don't play Corn. I play against them a lot. So for me, I was like, points increase.
I mean, I may or may not own 20 of them and be a big fan. So
that did.
Yeah.
Well, so I didn't know you had a Corn army.
Oh yeah. I do have the Corn army. I don't put it on the table that much, and I haven't done a lot of videos on it yet. I feel like I still need to actually like unlock the potential of what the Bloodbound do. So I really don't like mixing in the demons that much.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think, like, I feel like the Bloodletter Bomb is just such a mean list, and I don't want to be that guy. And it's also like, it's a mean list, and it's not even my play style of mean.
Okay, so it's a mean list. You don't want to be that guy, but quoting, I've worked out a way with Retributors to not take Star Soul Maces. So it's going to be the same thing, man. It's Blood Leader Bomb and whatever it is that you've got boiling up with Stormcast, it's still going to happen. Like, that's the whole point of it, though. You've got to get the most out of it. And besides, someone's got to be that guy, man.
Yeah, I mean, you've always got to be that guy, and I am that guy that, like, just loves stacking buffs, figuring out how the units interact, like, doing the Mathhammer, squeezing every last little bit of value out of everything that I can. Like, that's what I'm, like, all about. Like, I have spreadsheets and spreadsheets and spreadsheets on my laptop of, like, just analyzing units.
So is that what you've done with your Freeguild list that we're going to look at today?
I mean, I have analyzed the bejesus out of Freeguild. So, I mean, I think at this point, I'm to the point where I kind of like intuitively just know which units are much better than others and, you know, how to fill in the gaps. There's one thing in here that I really am still a little bit iffy on, and that is the Celestial Hurricanum with the points increase to 380.
Yeah, it hurts.
It hurts, but I think it's really good. So
it is. But imagine if you didn't have those points increase, you could still squeeze something else in there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
something small, but you could still squeeze something else in there.
And I could tell you exactly how this list would be different if it was 320 instead of 380. You know, like I don't know if you have the list, if you want to throw it up and we can start talking about it.
Let's do it. Give me 1 second. When I'm pulling this up as well, I'd just like to know, because this is a list, you don't actually need to have the army with you to create the list, obviously. And with your recent look into Stormcast, what made you stick with Freeguild?
I just love the army, and now that, like, you know, 2/3 of the war scrolls with the Freeguild keyword have been you know, culled out and thrown in the compendium to never be seen again. Now it's like just like a challenge to try and make this good.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, I'm going to be honest, I think it's still like a tier 2 army at best, but it is a lot of fun to play. And I was always really enjoying it. It's still, like, even with all of the stuff that got cut out, if you throw in, you know, your allies, it's still what it used to be, like the jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife kind of army, which is great. And it's got some weaknesses now that, you know, it didn't have before. It's a lot less mobile than it used to be, which, I mean, I guess I should say that with a caveat, right? Like,
yeah,
there's still mobility in the Freeguild list. You still have Outriders, you still have Pistoliers, you still have the General on the Griffin, you still have your Demigriff Knights.
Yes, yeah.
Without the Brotherhood of Knights battalion, the Demigriffs are nowhere near as good as they used to be. They did go down 40 points, though. There's still
something you don't want to. There's still something you don't want to see on your flank if you don't have the right units there to deal with it, though. Like, I want more. I want more. Demigriffs are still good.
Yeah, they're definitely very good. I'm still deciding. I've got 2 units of 3 painted up. I've got 2 more units that are in gray plastic, and I'm deciding if I'm keeping them or throwing them on eBay. I'm undecided right now if I'm ever going to run like the 12 Demigriff list. But anyway,
I don't know. It's hard. Like, because I don't know if is there really a place for a 12 Demigriff list anymore with what's been taken away from the Freeguild already. Because, like, I had 40 knights, Empire Knights, and a unit of the Inner Circle, and I've just gone, well, I can't use them anymore. and I've gotten rid of all of them. And now I'm actually looking at the rest of the mounted units in Freeguild and thinking, is there a place for anything mounted anymore other than to use them for speed?
I think they may have an interesting place in using them in great companies. That's the thing that I'm still kind of trying to figure out, how to actually get it to work the way I would want it to. But, you know, Outriders for, you know, their points cost at 130 for 5 of them, they hit pretty hard in the shooting phase, and they move quick. And, you know, with battalion buffs or with, you know, Celestial Hurricanum and Hold the Line or whatever else you can get for buffs thrown on them, I mean, their shots are pretty strong and they're really mobile. So if you run a 10-pack of those and throw them in a great company, there's some interesting possibilities there.
Okay.
Same thing with like the Demigriff Knights. You can run a single unit of 12 Demigriffs, so you can theoretically get a unit of Demigriffs that is large enough to be included in a great company, and, you know, get the abilities of the great company. And
so just when we're on that as well, great company, because I know you use that in this list here. Just for anybody who's not aware, do you want to quickly run through great company?
Right. So that is the primary battle trait allegiance ability for the Freeguild. Basically, you take groups of 3 units to be a great company. One of the units in the great company has to be a unit of Freeguild Guard with at least 20 models in it. And then 2 other units that are at least 10 models strong. I apologize. Can you hear like the noise in the background, by the way? My neighbor is like shooting off fireworks.
That's all right. It'll go really well with my next door neighbor who whistles Italian opera. So if you hear him, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's certainly distracting the hell out of me. just
a little bit. So I guess what you're saying is 10 models each for the other units minimum. For example, for example, a great company might have 1 unit of 30 Freeguild Guard, 1 unit of 15 Freeguild Crossbowmen, and 1 unit of 10 Freeguild Greatswords. Which I think that's what they've put in the General's Handbook 2017. But I think you're more likely to see a lot more of the Guard with handgunners than you would with crossbowmen.
I'm going to experiment with both because the wording of the crossbowman's ability when they have 20 or more in the unit, if they don't move in the previous movement phase and they don't have any enemy units within 3 inches of them, they get the double shot. So that means when they're shooting in support, if they're able to shoot in support and they have at least 20 models in the unit and they haven't moved, then they get the double shot. So that was one of like the downsides before, is like their stand and shoot is really weak compared to handgunners. But in this situation, I'm definitely going to be playtesting it. I'll put it that way.
And I guess it's also going to change depending on what you've got nearby. Have you got a Freeguild General? Do you have that Hurricanum nearby? Because these are all things that are adding to hit as well. So I guess that with the Freeguild companies as well makes it pretty darn tough.
Yeah. So just to clarify what these great companies actually do. So at the end of your opponent's charge phase, if one of the units in a great company is in close combat with one of your opponent's units, and one of the other 2 units is within 6 inches of your unit from the great company that's engaged with your opponent, and they are not engaged in close combat already, they can either charge or shoot as if it's the shooting phase.
Yeah, not within 3 inches of the enemy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can't be in close combat. They have to be within 6 inches of a unit that is in close combat. That's basically the rule that we have here. So basically what you're going to want to do is get, my personal preference is a unit of Freeguild Guard with sword and shield that's 20 strong. That's going to be like your chaff buffer that's going to get up there and get into close combat, and then have it backed up by a big group of shooting units that are less than 6 inches away, so that they can just fire away on your opponent in your opponent's turn.
You know who's firing away? Your next door neighbor's firing away. That's who's firing away.
Yeah, I mean, they're going crazy over there.
Dude, that guy must have spent some cash. God.
Yeah.
What are we doing, man? Take your camera. Let's just go see the fireworks instead.
Yeah, it's like not even a holiday. It's just like somebody's birthday or something.
It's fucking illegal here in Australia. You can't do that shit over here.
In the United States, it depends on like what state you're in as to like whether or not you can purchase them. And it varies by state on like what class of fireworks you can buy.
That sounds almost as complex as your taxation system.
Everything in the United States is absurdly complicated for no reason. That is why we are all such miserable human beings. Our lives are incredibly complex for really no good reason.
Hey, man, there's lots of space here. Bring yourself and your armies. You're more than welcome. In Australia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, what they...
So anyway, here's the little rules glitch that I don't know if GW intended this or if it's sort of a rules loophole that'll probably get FAQ'd eventually, right? So the original thought that everybody seems to have when they read the great company rules with, like the supporting charges and the supporting fire is, oh, this is a stand and shoot charge response. This is a counter charge response, hearkening back to the detachment rules in 8th edition. That is not what this is. This is like a game state effect. So all the rule says is you have to be in close combat with your opponent at the end of their charge phase to trigger shooting and charging. So you can actually charge your opponent during your turn as long as you keep, that big unit of handgunners within 6 inches. You can just like snake tail some guys back when you charge, get your opponent into close combat. Now on their turn, they have to either retreat or they're going to get shot at. So you're getting what this rule basically does is it forces your opponent to either keep backing up or lets you double tap on shooting. You can shoot during your turn and during your opponent's turn if you play your cards right.
Yeah, basically you're getting it double. And I mean, even being able to charge. So say those greatswords charged the remnants of some other unit and took them out in your turn, and then it's your opponent's turn, and your greatswords are no longer in combat again, then they're freed up to charge as long as they're within 6 inches of the other unit that you've just put into close combat.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's just so powerful, and I don't think it is rules as intended. So I really strongly feel that we're going to get an FAQ on this eventually, changing it. The one thing that I think we have as a sort of feather in our cap for this is that the Freeguild is not that popular of an army, and this is, even with that, this is not like outrageously overpowered. So I think it may just get overlooked for an FAQ.
Yeah, and I mean, the other good thing about it as well is you go through and you read it, and it's not at a cost to you. Like, these are units that you're most likely going to be bringing if you're playing Freeguild anyway. So it doesn't cost you anything else to just other than a bit of time to say, oh, hello, Mr. or Mrs. Opponent. By the way, these are all in Freeguild great companies. That's it. You know,
absolutely.
And why wouldn't you? I mean, you're going to take these units anyway because they're the backbone of a Freeguild army.
Right.
Take it, do it. Like, yeah, there's no reason not to ever, really, that I can think of.
Yeah, prior to the culling of the compendium, as I like to call it, I was running really cavalry heavy lists. But in those instances where I was like, oh, I feel like playing infantry today, I would be running lists that look very much like this, and so it's not that big of a change from what we had before. We just get new extra special abilities that make our army better. So, I just like it. It feels like it's what this army needed to be a lot more competitive than it was before. It makes up for the fact that we no longer have Pegasus Knights and Grail Knights and R.I.P. Bretonian Lord on a Pegasus, pouring one out for that guy endlessly.
Hell yes.
Just like my fun anecdote about how sad I am that I lost out on the Bretonian Lord on a Pegasus. I used to like to run him. Sometimes I would definitely always throw the artifact on him that gave him +1 damage. And occasionally run him as my general and gave him the +1 attack to his melee weapon as well. I have definitely on the charge, my maximum damage output in one turn from this guy was 17 damage in one charge.
Holy shit.
From a 140-point model.
Yeah, that's really like that's like Maw Crusher zone.
Yeah, and the great thing was that it's from sort of an obscure army that a lot of people don't play, so everybody just kind of ignored this random hero on a Pegasus that's flying around until it charges them, and they're like, wait, how many attacks is it throwing? And it hits on what? And wounds on what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then wait, and you threw an artifact on it, so on the charge it's doing D3 plus 2 damage for every one of your wounds, and it had rend? What?
That's nuts.
Yeah. So
holy crap. I didn't realize that he could actually dish out that much for 140. That's a wound per 10 points of his cost.
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So in that vein, I mean, with the general on Griffin dropping 40 points in the GHB 2017, I feel like he's an adequate replacement for our Lord on a Pegasus. He's 120 points more expensive, but I think he's more than 120 points better.
Well, let's on your list you've got the general on Warhorse at the top there, but let's go to the general on Griffin first, just because we've already got him anyway. Where is he? There we go. Can you see that?
Oh, you've got all the scrolls prepared and everything?
Yeah, man. That's how I roll. So
you are far more prepared than I ever am.
What is it? Prior preparation prevents potential poor performance. It's a lot of P's.
It is. I'm popping a lot of P's there.
Yeah, plus Freeguild are very close to my heart. So anytime I see somebody's list, I'll always have their war scrolls up, being like, yeah, okay, so that's why he brings that. That's why he's doing that. That's just force of habit, I guess. But so he's General on Griffin. Now he's in your list. He's the most expensive thing on your list next to your allies. Do you want to go through why he's here and what role he plays in your list?
Yeah. So the other important thing to note on this too is that I'm giving him the armor of meteoric iron. That's giving him +1 to his save. So he's got a natural 4-up save. And then I would always kit him out with a weapon selection that lets him take a shield. So it gives him additional +1 to save. plus the armor of meteoric iron. So that puts him on a 2-up save, and he has 13 wounds. So he is like Star Drake durable.
So if he's got a shield, is that re-rolling save rolls of 1, or does that just +1 to save?
It's just +1.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the other shields in the Freeguild just like reroll 1s. His gives you +1.
Yeah, that's right. It's in his description, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it limits your weapon selection a little bit. I think you can take the lance and you can take the rune sword. I don't believe you can take the Sigmarite Great Hammer. I think I would usually take the lance because really the role in combat that I'm going to be playing with this guy is he's going to be the quick moving, getting your face, charge your opponent, kind of battle role where he's really, he's attacking an objective. He's attacking a big unit. He's really serving that role as being that big distracting monster. He's going to be incredibly durable.
So
he's going to do a ton of damage.
Yeah, so he would have more likely than not have charged before his attack. So with the lance, you get in that add 1 to the damage of his lance,
right? Which
would make sense. Plus, like you said, with the shield as well.
Yeah. So the big thing is that this guy's like a rock, and that is really strong. Previously, like when he was 300 points, I looked at the Griffin and I looked at his abilities and I was like, this is really not that strong. But for 260, I feel like this guy's a really good deal now.
Well, render's always attractive. And for anybody who's looking at general on Griffin, like you look at this dude and you're just like, neg 1 rend, neg 1 rend, neg 2, like, oh yeah, you deadly beaks, neg 2 rend. Like those are still attractive qualities of this model.
Right. And it's neg 2 rend and it does 6 damage when it lands. Like that's big.
Damn.
They're having a party next door.
Mate, that is some crazy fireworks. I'm a little bit jealous. Like I said, illegal over here, can't do it. Thanks a lot, Australian government. I'm sure there was probably some reason for it. All right, so
you can't have proper freedom in a country unless you have the right to blow up a small piece of it.
I'll let you take that up with whoever our prime minister is. That changes so frequently here that you just don't learn their names anymore. You're just like, it'll be somebody else next week. It'll be somebody else. They're all stabbing each other in the back anyway.
Yeah, that makes me feel better about not knowing who the prime minister of Australia is.
Just another one, just like the other one. There, yeah. No comment on Australian prime ministers over here.
Let's not get into too political discussions here.
No, you can listen to me bitch about that for hours off air. What about his command ability though? With the general on Griffin, because I'm not sure with his command ability. Like I always take a general, obviously, and he'll be on a horse. But do you find that the rousing battle cries like very useful, or just one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, I'll use it because it's his command ability?
It sucks. Don't use it. Always use the general on a war horse and make him your general.
That's it. Okay, I'm not the only one. Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, why would you? Like, you just grab your general.
Yeah, I mean, giving 3 units of dudes +1 to hit and +1 to wound is incredibly powerful. Like, especially when you already have powerful shooting units, it's so easy with that to get handgunners down to 2-up, 2-up.
Yeah, so easy. And that's what you want. That's your goal with building a free guild army is, cool, I don't have a whole bunch of 2-wound models like Stormcast, but what I can do is get those hit and wound rolls as low as possible. And that's where your damage comes from. Yeah,
and a unit of 20 handgunners just makes units disappear.
Yeah,
It was funny, like when when AOS first launched, one of my first games with running Freeguild, I had a unit of 20 handgunners, and everybody was new to the game at the time, had no idea what all of these units did other than like their own war scrolls, and we all only kind of half knew them. So the guy that I was playing against didn't realize that they had that stand and shoot sort of ability, and he was playing Dark Elves, I think, and he like charged them with like Dark Riders, and they were just a red mist. Like they did not get to make melee attacks. The entire unit was picked up off the board before the charge was completed.
See, you see things like that take place, and it makes you wonder, like, where are all these Freeguild armies? Surely people have cottoned on that Freeguild are still awesome. I want to see more out there. I really do. Because there's still a place for them, definitely.
The thing that I find is every time I play them, like, against somebody that's not in my regular pool of players, it's like, yeah, I've never played against Freeguild before, and I really don't know what they do. And holy crap, your handgunners do what?
Yeah, that's it. They're so good. They're I love them. I reckon. And on top of that, even the old minis look good. Like their facial expressions crack me up. And some of the guys look so just rugged and just like battle hardened, and there's just this theme to them. I really like them. I think they're awesome. Yeah,
and for my Stormcast army, I just sidetrack back to Stormcast for a minute. I am doing head swaps with all of my Stormcasts, so like I hate their like faceless death mask helmets. So they're all going to be, just dudes with exposed heads, and a bunch of them are just going to be like the Freeguild guard heads.
Bar the Relictor, of course, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, because he has to have his mask because he looks like insane.
He's so cool.
Yeah, that is one of the best head sculpts I've seen in a while. But the other thing that I did purchase for them is a bunch of Space Wolves heads. So they're going to be a bunch of crazy bearded dudes as well.
That is a really, really cool idea.
Yeah.
I have to see that when that's done. That's going to look really cool.
Yeah, between like the cool Freeguild heads and the Space Wolves heads, they're going to look like madness running across the table.
I want to see that on the table, man. I can't wait to see that on the table. That's a bat rap you've got to do. All right, so Freeguild General, he's obviously going to be your general for this list as well, yeah? Do you want to go through him?
Yeah, so basically like every line of text on this guy is valuable. His command ability is, I think, one of the best command abilities in all of Age of Sigmar. Just the ability to give 3 different units +1 to hit and +1 to wound, with the only downside that they cannot move that turn. That is kind of crazy.
Especially when you look at handgunners, like they've got some good range already. Yes. So the chances are you're probably not going to move them that much anyway. It's not like you're really losing out on much.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, I have this habit of reading and rereading war scrolls and different abilities, and just to try and get all of the different synergies and pick up all of the little nuances of the wordings of things.
Yeah.
If you look at that command ability's wording, it says they get +1 to hit and +1 to wound until your next hero phase. But they cannot move or charge this turn. So, with the great companies in mind...
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. This turn is your turn, not your opponent's turn.
Yeah, so you can set this up so that you have, a charged up unit of great swords that are going to be hitting and wounding on 2s, ready to countercharge on your opponent's turn and probably wipe a unit off the board.
That is really cool.
Yeah, or same thing with like a unit of halberdiers. They can just charge into something, and I think they were they didn't get a lot of love, in the first 2 years of Age of Sigmar.
Yep.
But now with Indomitable and the great company abilities, I think they're in like their time to shine again. They used to be like
their horde bonus as well. If you want to take a unit of 40 of them.
Yeah. They're the fact that you can take a really cheap, large unit of them of 40 is incredible.
My one gripe with them, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love them, is their god bloody damn weapons. When you're trying to set them up on a table and they're all poking each other in the back, drives me insane. Absolutely drives me bonkers.
I don't know what you use to transport your army, but I've got one of those like foam cases. And halberds always get caught on the foam. I am constantly replacing halberd tips. It is
I don't know. I don't know if you've tried this before, right? But this is what I do. I get the wooden like breakfast in bed trays that you can get with the little leg stands on it. So you come and you're like, yeah, honey, breakfast in bed. Here you go. Ain't nobody got time for that. So take the legs off your breakfast tray, put a metal sheet down on the tray itself, and then you just magnetize the base. Put a little magnet on every single one of them, and then just transport them. You just stand them all up in a tray, and nothing slides, nothing moves, and you can just pull it out and carry it to the table with you instead of having to put them in like the foam cases and stuff.
I have genuinely been thinking of going that route because I hate the foam cases.
So do I.
And especially because I have like the GW foam case that's like super generic, and really like the only thing that fits into them nicely is Space Marines.
Yep.
It like the fiddly bits and spiky bits on models constantly get stuck on them. Things constantly break. They're not designed for large models at all.
Yeah, definitely. There's also some cases that you can buy that they're about the size of like your average computer tower, and they've just got shelves in them of just metal shelves. So if you magnetize the base of each one of the units, you can just slide in and out these trays of this box, and it's so much easier. Foam drives me nuts. And then even when you get there and you're like, oh yeah, I've successfully transported all of my units safely, and then you go to pull one out of the foam, snap, one stuck to the foam, and you've just lost a halberd. Like, just drives me nuts.
Yeah. And just a little personal sad story for me is just now after the general on Griffin got a points drop and it's suddenly good.
Yeah.
I dropped mine while transporting it, and claws broke one of the wingtips off, like broke one of his whole like fingers off. And it was in my garage, so like I can't even find some of these parts that fell off of this thing.
Oh no.
So I mean, there is some genuine consideration being taken to just buying another one. And
moral of the day, kids, magnetize.
Yeah, magnetize your dudes and put them on trays that are more stable and more reliable than putting them in foam cases.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So, looking at this now, you've got these great companies here, and I like that you've brought two that just ticks every box for me. I'd like to go to the Freeguild Guard Sword and Shield. Is that all right? This interests me because I'm a halberd fan. So, but I know the benefits of the Sword and Shield. So, do you want to run through those?
So basically, every reason that liberators are good for defensive purposes, these guys are exactly the same, except you get 10 1-wound models instead of 5 2-wound models. and they're resistant to battle shock, and they're 20 points cheaper. That's basically the rundown on them. They're just really strong. I was using them for the past year as my standard battle line troops. I would just take 3 units of guard with sword and shield and then a whole bunch of knights.
Yeah.
And they're great for holding objectives. They're great for body blocking things. They're great for bunkering your heroes. Anything that you need them to do in a defensive sort of way, they are really strong at. So they have, with their shield, they have a 4-up save that rerolls 1s, which is the same save that Liberators have when they have hammer and shield.
Yeah. And let's not forget, you've got the added bonus of the drummers and the standard bearer as well, if you want.
Yeah. And so they're just hitting and wounding on 4s, which is really like not exciting. When you're taking them in units of 20, they get +1 to hit. Yeah, there's plenty of other things around that get +1 to hit. The big thing here is that these are just like the anvils of your great companies.
Yeah,
this
definitely
is going to be the unit that you want to take, and that's the unit that when you want to use that abuse of the rules where you charge your unit into your opponent's stuff so that you can shoot them on your turn, on their turn rather, like you choose the Freeguild guard with sword and shield to make that charge because they are going to not lose a lot of guys.
Yeah.
So the other kind of combination here that I want to highlight in the Freeguild overall is, you know, with our Freeguild general on the Warhorse, his banner is fantastic. It lets you roll 2d6 and take the lowest for battle shock tests. We have actually a second battle trait that lets us re-roll battle shock tests. And all of your Freeguild guard and your great swords and your handgunners have a banner that says if you roll a 1 for your battle shock test, you ignore battle shock. So
many chances to just ignore battle shock altogether there.
Yeah, you know, you either are going to roll low and not lose 0 or very few models off of battle shock, or you're going to be immune to battle shock. And with the 2d6 take the lowest plus a reroll, you have better than 50% chance to hit that 1, like rolling a 1 to ignore battle shock on them. So basically, like they have like the dwarves ability, but a little bit more complex. Like they just ignore battle shock half the time.
That's quite sexy. That's quite sexy indeed.
Yeah, and just the side note for you, if you choose to take the Freeguild Regiment Battalion, that increases the banner ability to 1s and 2s ignoring battle shock. So then you get the 2d6 take the lowest and the reroll, and they ignore battle shock on 1s and 2s. I believe that maths out to ignoring battle shock about 90% of the time.
That's really important when you're playing with a horde meta.
Yeah, when you're running units of 20 guys that have the intention of throwing themselves at your opponent haphazardly to just get them in combat and stay there as long as possible so that they hold up your opponent's units so that you can shoot at them, that's a really important thing to do. Yeah, it's a really important ability.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, so basically the way that I designed these great companies is, you know, you have the core unit of Freeguild Guard with sword and shield, 20 guys strong. That's your, you know, your main like battle line sort of requirement for those. Each one takes a unit of 20 handgunners. And then in this particular list, I had to use 2 different hammer units. One of them is a unit of 20 great swords, and the other is a unit of 30 Freeguild guard with halberds. So the great swords are going to be, you know, when they charge in, they're probably going to be hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, 2 attacks each, rend 1. So that they throw a tremendous number of attacks. You've got the Celestial Hurricane, I'm backing them up, so they're probably actually hitting on 2s. I mean, just incredible amount of damage output there.
Especially with that rend with the Freeguild Greatswords, that rend is what I think is the key to a lot of their damage. Obviously, rend is always good, but when a unit like this has any sort of rend, they're nuts. And I really wish there was a way that we could make that rend 2. That'd be like a buff where we could just give them rend 2. I would just take great swords all day, every day.
You know, maybe one day we will get a book for these guys, and maybe we'll get, you know, new releases of models so that we can get some extra sexy abilities that can do things like that. Unfortunately, for now, we're kind of stuck with some fairly generic stuff.
One day.
So my other, you know, hammer unit in the other great company is, you know, the unit of 30 great Freeguild guard with halberds. So they're going to be, you know, at 30 strong. They're hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s, rend 1. In 30 dudes strong, they're going to be throwing a lot of attacks. A lot of them are going to land. You've got the Celestial Hurricane once again to back that up. As they lose models, they can, you know, continue to have that extra plus to hit buff. You know, the Hurricane is really there to keep all of your guys reliably hitting on 2s all the time,
which it does really well.
Yeah, it's really good at that.
And it's got the wounds and the damage output to stay. Like when this thing hits a table and you sit it near or in between those 2 regiments, like it's not going anywhere. Not in a hurry, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it puts your opponent in this weird position where, like, do I attack this war machine that's, you know, it's putting out buffs, but it's got 11 wounds and a 4-up save. So it's going to be sticking around for a while. Or do I go after the handgunners that are shooting at me every turn? Or do I try and whittle down, like, the units on objectives? Or it just... Yeah. It's one of those models just really fantastic at putting your opponent in a position where they have to make a bad choice.
Yeah, and I don't think there is a good choice, because even then you say, oh yeah, well, the damage output's coming from those handgunners. I'll target those handgunners. Yep, that's cool. Target the handgunners. Come charge in. And then, well, oh, did I not mention that there's also this unit of great swords or Freeguild guard within 6 inches that aren't in combat that are now going to charge you in your charge phase, in your phase. So you're right. There isn't a good choice, because the synergy between all of these abilities is so good. They're locked in this what do I attack thing. It reminds me of the age-old gripe with a lot of PC gamers, where they're always like, attack the healer, damn it, attack the healer. Same thing. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, and you know, the other important thing with this too is, you know, we do have a couple of scenarios floating out there that require you to have a hero to score objectives. And this guy has the hero keyword too. He's got a battle mage riding on him.
That's it. And that guy is no slouch either. Like, he's got some awesome stuff.
Yeah, I mean, between the Storm of Shimtek ability and the spell on the wizard, the Comet of Cassandora, you're averaging 8 mortal wounds a turn out of this thing, projected at 18 inches away from it.
Oh, but see, this is why this is the ideal unit to allying with Freeguild. It's a pity it costs so much. It really is.
It
but
is worth
Jesus.
every point, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, honestly, if GW made it 400 points, I'd probably still be like, yeah, that can still go in. Like, I will not complain about the pointing, the cost increase for that. Like, I just can't, because it's just so good.
Yeah, and on top of that, if you don't want to cast the Comet, he can Mystic Shield your guys to give your guys even more defense.
Yeah.
That's another little thing here that we really haven't gone over is that I've given my general the Indomitable trait. So units within 9 inches of my general that haven't charged this turn get +1 to save. So you just kind of stick him in the middle of the fray, and so you give him a weapons loadout that also gives him a shield, and you just don't ever charge him into combat, so he's just going to sit on a 2-up save the whole game.
Yeah, so it's within 6 inches as long as they haven't made a charge move in the same turn. Is that
the 6 inches is the Stormcast version of this. The Freeguild version has 9 inches.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Right?
What?
Oh, wait. No. I'm sorry. It is 6 inches. I apologize.
Oh,
Firing.
If it was, I was like, I've got to go, man. I've got to go make some lists. I'll be back later.
But even 6 inches, I mean, if you think about it, that's, if you add in the base, that's an extra, maybe inch or two. So he's got like a 14-inch, diameter that he's impacting. That's a really good chunk of the board. And with using units that are fairly sizable, you can easily snaketail back to that 6-inch bubble and get the extra buff to save. So like between that and your wizard on the Celestial Hurricanum, being able to throw out a Mystic Shield, you can suddenly have halberdiers that are saving on a 3 rerolling 1s.
Holy crap.
Yeah, right?
It's amazing when you put it all together. Like, it's just Freeguild is still, I still love them. I still do. And I mean, looking at this list now, you can tell that GW's, they've put a lot of thought into Freeguild, even though they were like, oh, that can go, that can go, that can go. They've still made it so that you can pick your allies and you know what's going to be good and what's going to synergize. And I mean, this list, it's 2,000 points. It's bang on, and you've got the perfect ally. You've got the perfect units. Like, it's just so easy to say, I want to play Freeguild. I want to build a list, and anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a like seasoned like yourself or somebody who's just coming in. You can build a really highly effective and competitive list without too much hassle and without too much trouble. And when you go through the rules and you look at your traits and you look at all that sort of stuff, it's easy to read it and say, okay, that's going to be effective. That may not be effective, and just put together something that you can then go chuck some dice on a table and have a good time and not worry about just getting face smashed by some ridiculous, cheesy list. They're I think still an army of choice. More people should play them.
The key thing with this is that you have to do a lot of thinking and planning playing with this army. It is really, really unforgiving when you're actually putting it on the table and trying to play it competitively. Your great companies, you have to make sure that you're keeping your guys within 6 inches of each other and you're positioning units such that your handgunners aren't going to get charged. And you're, depending on what army you're playing against, you've got to spread your guys out in the right way so that, you're denying the you know, all of those like deep strike abilities that, you know, have to be more than 9 inches away. Like you've got to be able to like deny a lot of territory.
Which I guess is it's a pity you can't just like throw a Griffound in there and keep that at the back, like for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I do love the Griffound. Like whenever I have that like extra 40 points in my list, I'm like, yep, taking a Griffound.
Yeah, imagine if that Hurricane was 40 points cheaper. Anyway,
yeah.
So I'm just going to stop sharing the screen for a second there.
Yeah.
Now,
so, the big thing is really that you just need to be really careful on where you place your units, how you move them together.
Yeah.
And just remember that, like, literally, like, every model in this army, every unit in this army interacts with everything else in some way.
So with that in mind then, with this list, right, and this is going to be difficult because the rules are build a 2K list for match play, 2,000 points. General's Handbook 2017. And that's what you've done. What is it, I guess, that you think would make this list a list that would win against all comers? And does it have a weakness that you're willing to share?
You know, I think the biggest weakness is that this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a 9-drop army. So you're never going to get to decide who goes first. Unless you're those few other rare exception armies that are also high drop count. You really have a problem there. Yeah, you can be in a bad position where your opponent gets the jump on you very easily. The flip side of that is a lot of those, 1, 2, 3 drop lists are a very like linear strategy that you actually kind of get a slight advantage in the fact that you get to see your opponent's entire deployment before you put the majority of your models on the board.
Yeah.
So, when you're up against something like, the Bloodletter Bombs, a murder host list, you just know that you have to take your Freeguild Guard with sword and shield and make a shield wall. And just line them up, string them out in front of all of your guys, and just say, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah.
Just let them be sacrificed. And you know what? Handgunners are going to make Bloodletters just melt, because Bloodletters have a 5-up save and Handgunners have rend.
Well, so see, that's what I'm thinking, because Brindley plays slaves to darkness, but he's right into his chaos, and he's got some Bloodletters, and I've got a whole bunch of Handgunners, and I'm really hoping he doesn't watch this video because he hasn't played against the Handgunners yet, just a Stormcast, and I'm just gonna red mist that way, red mist that way. Handgunners can just chill out. They are probably my favorite unit, and on all of Age of Sigmar at the moment. Because one, they don't have any shit tickets to worry about when you're putting them on the base. But dude, man, like with the meta the way it is, it's just built for Handgunners. They're just fucking tough. Love them.
Yeah, and with what I've sort of built into this list is that there's like that +1 to hit redundancy. So you can very easily, in almost all circumstances, have your Handgunners, hitting on 1s, wounding on 3s all the time, sometimes wounding on 2s when you're using your hold the line ability. So they're, with a unit of 20 of them, a 2-up with rend 1 is just, it just kills so many guys. And the fact that the Great Company ability doesn't make you shoot at the unit that's charging you, that's like a really important note too, is that like you can just like divide that fire up. Like if you think that if 20 shots into whatever unit that's charging is just going to melt it, you know, split it up 50-50 into something else that's in range.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot in range because they have got some awesome range too. So,
yeah, and the thing that throws a lot of people off, like, is that, you know, you can take the long rifle on the champion,
yeah,
and you know that you know naturally hits on 4s, wounds on 3s, rend 1-2 damage at 30 inches.
Yeah,
like,
and not to mention if you've got a couple of units of these guys, like potentially you could take 2 or 3.
Yeah. So it you know, between you know 2 different units, or yeah, let's say you have 3 units of handgunners on the board that all have long rifles. You can get off a lucky shot, like some lucky shots on turn 1, and take out your opponent's general before they ever use it.
Why wouldn't you try? Like, that's definitely. I mean, that's across the board. That's sniping. They're the original. Yeah. You know, the real Slim Shadys. Those guys, man. When it comes to sniping, like, that's awesome. Yeah. If you had 3 of those, chances are, you know, one of them at least is gonna get on them. So I don't see why you wouldn't. Like, just looking at them now, like, yeah, I love you guys.
Yeah, I'm in a place where, you know, I'm building the Stormcast army now, so I'm not really looking to build out another army at the same time. But there's like, I mean, like, let's just theory hammer for a second here, right?
Right.
All right. So let's say you, instead of taking 2 great companies that are, you know, Freeguild Guard, a unit of handgunners, and like great swords, what if you run 2 great companies that are, you know, a unit of Freeguild Guard with sword and shield, and then 2 units of 20 handgunners? So then you're running 80 handgunners on the board.
Be careful now, because I have 80 handgunners. And I will do this, and I will not make friends. Like,
yeah, I mean, that is a very quick way to never be invited back for a game ever again. But I mean,
that's yeah.
I mean, you're going to snipe out your opponent's general turn 1.
Yeah.
You're going to march them up the field and get your guard with sword and shield just into your opponent's face and just unload lead on them.
Yeah.
And there's huge numbers of them. You have a Hurricanum to back it up. You've got
the board control by then as well, because the general's gone. You've already marched up. And let's just say there was a couple of strategic points there that you needed to take. Because you've got those horde units, you can string them out, like you said, as well. You've got that board control straight away as well, which is, you know, that's one of the most important factors in the game altogether. So I'm gonna do a little bit of tinkering, I think, and have a look at that, and just see if there's somebody out there that would have a friendly go against it. That's pretty. Yeah, that's full on. I love Freeguild.
Yeah, I mean, you know, then you can stack on top of that. You know, instead of running the Hurricanum as an ally, you can throw in a cannon, a volley gun, and a gunmaster. So now you've got 5 sniper rifles, a cannon, and a volley gun.
Yeah, yeah. Every day. Oh my god. Yes.
Like, that is just like the biggest nightmare gun line. Like, that's just nightmare fuel. Like, I feel like the only thing that is worse than that for a gun line is, I mean, that competes with Caradron Overlords, that competes with Skyfires. Like,
yeah. Definitely.
And it's, you know, it's the bodies on the board, and it's just going to slowly march up and just keep shooting you. Like, the only downside is that, you know, the majority of your gunners have a 16-inch range. So your opponent has to advance up the board at you, or you have to just keep marching them across. And, you know, when they move, they have one less +1 to hit, and they can't take the command ability. So they're,
but let's face it, by the time
they're 20
they get to close combat, they're going to have already caused enough damage to have been worth it anyway.
Yeah, but you know, assuming they're 20 strong and they're within the Celestial Hurricane bubble, they're still hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, even if they're moving.
Holy crap! Hey, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it because I have to. I think we have to for the community. I think as a Freeguild player, it's my duty. It's my duty to try this for all of you.
Yeah.
So somebody
you know, one of my rules, like, for making this particular list that I just kind of imposed on myself was, you know, I have to own all the models for it too. Like, I don't own 80 handgunners. I only own 40.
I'm not going to lie. I've got a total of 130. So if you want a couple, I'm pretty sure I could send you a few units because I'll never field that many. Don't ask me why. Don't judge me, okay?
I will say that I do have a few other handgunners that are like the old, like, monopose handgunners that were like one piece, that are just sitting in my bits box because they look really stupid and I don't really have a need for them.
Well, you can still use them though if you want, like, just as a trial. Like, you could still just pull them out.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even on bases.
Yeah, I'm looking at all my Bretonnian stuff now, thinking goodbye. Onto eBay it goes. Somebody from Kings of War will want it or something.
Yeah, and you know, just for all those people out there that may be watching and, you know, lamenting the loss of Bretonnia, the equivalent of Bretonnia in Kings of War is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to play Kings of War, you have a really good army that you can go play Kings of War with.
Yep.
If you do not want to play Kings of War, they are still a freaking gold mine because they are so valuable in Kings of War. And they're really nice models.
Yeah, they are. You've got to find a way to use them. Like, they're still they're the most, as far as like that night theme goes, nothing beats them. They're so nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful models. They take bloody forever to paint though, because there is just so much tapestry, so much heraldry.
Shout out to Jono from my gaming club, who's currently painting an army of Bretonnians. So our deepest condolences and thoughts and best wishes go out to you in this, your time of trial.
Yeah,
it's a lot to paint.
I feel like it's almost easier if you know, you're painting a Bretonnian army and you're going with like the full, like, Bretonnian feel where they're like each one is unique and individual.
Oh, he's doing it. And actually, I might post some pictures up because they're really good. So
yeah. The nice thing about doing that is that, like, you know, you can go with some that are like really ornate and detailed, and some of them you can like totally phone it in and just hide them in the middle of a unit.
Just put it at the back. Just at the back of the bus, kids. Go on, off you go. Right over there.
Yeah, like, and you know, slap some stickers on it and call it a day.
Away you go. Yeah, that's it. That is it. So,
but like the paint scheme that I went with on mine, I was, you know, matching all of my Freeguild stuff, which is like that. I use that like quartered pattern.
Yeah.
On like everything.
The white and
red. Blue and red.
Okay. Yeah.
For oh geez, what was that? One of the the capital of the empire.
What was that called?
Altdorf?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it was Altdorf's colors. So yeah, I mean, I really don't like the red and white, by the way. Like, I feel like white on that many infantry looks absolutely terrible and is really challenging to paint and get it to look good.
It is. I've got a unit of 20 handgunners that are white and red, and a unit of 20 Freeguild garden swords and shields that are white and red. And I look at them, and yeah, white's hard to paint. I don't know. I bought them like that, so gonna have to strip them.
So you didn't paint them?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to strip them, paint them, and put them on the round bases. So not looking forward to that. I'm just gonna procrastinate as much as possible with that because that's gonna take for ages.
Yeah.
Right,
see, my trick to get around the stripping piece is I just
got a trick. Oh, do tell. I can't, because when I bought these, I think they've been painted with like paint from somebody's art box or something. It's on there pretty thick, so I've got to.
Oh
yeah! Don't make me talk about it. It hurts me in here. It hurts me.
Yeah, I had a big lot of Bretonian stuff that I bought a while ago. That was like that. Like somebody just like went to like Michael's and picked up paints and like glued them all over these guys, and some of them just had to hit the trash bin. Like they were just that.
Well, Brinley at the moment has my Lord Castellant, which I bought off eBay, and literally I think the dude was like, I want to paint it purple, so he just dropped it in a bucket of purple paint, left it overnight, brought it out and hung it on his fucking washing line, and now I've just got this Gumby looking motherfucker, who I'm like, yeah, no, I promise, under there somewhere is a Lord Castellant. So he's going to strip that back for me with his magical powers, because I have no talent whatsoever other than throwing the dice. So.
Yeah, I was pondering like the what is it, the Retributor armor spray that GW has.
Do it.
Really?
It's mixed reviews, but it's so much faster. Like, come on. Like, there's going to be. Unless you're painting
that you're going to lose detail because it's a base paint, so and it's a metallic, so you're going to, on the more fine detailed features of some models, I feel like you're going to lose some detail.
Okay, so you're going to have 20 Liberators, all right? Spray the bastards, because they all look the same. They don't have heaps of fine detail to them. But if you were doing like what do they call the flyboys, prosecutors? Maybe not. Like, they're a little bit different. But man, when it comes to, I don't know, I'm just a table quality kind of guy. I can't do like Vince's style, for example. I'll never ever in a million gazillion years be able to paint like that. So I'll take any shortcut that doesn't screw them all up.
Yeah.
I admit it.
Since you brought it up, Vince's painting tutorials, like his hobby cheating.
Yeah.
Now that he's gotten to over 100 hobby cheating videos, am I the only one that has this feeling that like he's not talking about cheating anymore? Like, he's just talking about high level technique now. Like, he's gotten past all of the stuff that just makes your life easier, and it's like here's how you do something really crazy and complicated.
Yeah, it's like
I love the tutorials, and they are fantastic, but I'm not sure that hobby cheating is the appropriate word for it anymore.
No, but it did start off that way. For me, it started off as cheating. Like, the same with games. At first, he was like, okay, this is how you cheat in like Boggle or Monopoly, right? But now his cheating's getting more complex. It's like, all right, this is how you go into a casino and count cards. Like, it's still cheating, but it's you're on the next level. Like, I do, Vince, I love your stuff, man. I don't have the skill to follow your cheating sometimes now, and it makes me depressed, because it's from my lack of skill, and only from my lack of skill. They're still so good though. Like, and you do that with all the videos. Like, when it comes to working out lists, I'll be like, oh, let's watch some Mathhammer videos, and then you'll be like, yeah, that's how you do that list. And then I look at stuff and I think, I need to paint something. Okay, let's watch some of Vince's cheating stuff. And every now and then I go back to Tom's way of thinking as well, where it's like, if you touch it more than a set amount of times, too much, just too much. So I go there as well. And then when it comes to stuff like to throwing dice and trying to work stuff out, Doom and Darkness, any day of the week cracks me up.
Yeah.
And have you been watching Mitch's unlockings?
I did one of his unlockings.
I know you did. They are like a gold mine. And with all the new guys that we've got coming into AOS over here, like just so you're aware, I'm pointing people to your vids and to Mitch's vids, and to Warhammer Weekly as well, because that's where all the good info is. Because nobody wants to buy books and read through a dozen books anymore. So it's all there.
And you know what? I was really surprised to find out. Like, I did a little bit of searching on YouTube. There is nobody out there doing any sort of advanced tactics and strategy for Stormcast at all. And it's like the most popular army in the game.
I think that's why, though. I think, and I hope this isn't true. Are we as casters falling into a hipster category where we can't do Stormcast because it's just standard and we need to be different? Is that what's happening here?
I don't know, but I know there is definitely a certain vibe that I've gotten, from conversations from a variety of different people, that like there's certain types of videos that get put out by certain channels that kind of get poo-pooed. They're like, yeah, they do their thing over there, and yeah, they might have like 2,000 subscribers or like 10,000 subscribers even, but yeah, but our stuff is really better.
Yeah, but you can't do that because it's so mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. It's so mainstream, man. Oh, it's so like that's just like the stuff for the new players.
Yeah. I'm doing like a real hybrid Nurgle meets Freeguild army now, because that's the new meta in cross-platform gaming, is to really just find a way to make two things not what they're supposed to be. And have I confused you yet? Excellent. I don't get those videos. I really don't. If you're building this fucking Stormcast list, don't show anybody the list until the GT comes out, because I want to see faces. But do some Stormcast stuff, because you're right, it's not out there.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a demand for it, certainly.
I demand it. Okay, there you go. On YouTube, I demand that you do Stormcast stuff.
I will absolutely comply to your demand. I've got a lot of ideas in the clip already for videos to do. And I mean, the army just keeps growing. They keep releasing new crap. So like, we literally just got a new model like a couple of weeks ago.
Yep. The one thing I will say, though, is that no matter how many new models Stormcast gets, Stormcast players will always still be asking for new models. So, and that's cool. I'm one of them. However, spare a thought for our Freeguild and Bretonnian playing brothers.
Yeah. You know what really put it over the line for me to say, like, oh, I feel okay playing Stormcast now, was the Vanguard Chamber.
Yeah.
Because it took them from being, when they first came out, they were such a one-dimensional, one-note army. And then they got, Judicators. And then they got, the dudes on the Dracoths and the Star Drakes. And now they've got, the Vanguard Raptors, and they've got the Paladors, and they've got, what are the other guys? Like the Ranger dudes. And now it's suddenly like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is just an elite army version of what the Freeguild was before the Compendium got called.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what they're supposed to be. Like, do you remember when Freeguild was like the good guys of Warhammer? That's what they were.
Yeah, and now the Stormcast are the good guys, and the Freeguild are sort of the other good guys that are really good at dying.
That's pretty much it. I mean, they I don't think they'll ever lose that. That's where Sigmar came from. Freeguild are like his hometown. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. That they're like that. Those are his boys. I just hope that in the fluff, Sigmar remembers, all that sort of stuff, where he came from.
Yeah, hope that Sigmar remembers that there are still crazy people flagellating themselves, walking around the territories.
Where's my those? I've got too many of those flagrant guys. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Yeah, I'm ready for a new release. I've got 70 flagellants ready to go.
I'm not going to lie. I saw your cast, and you did mention that, and that is the only reason why I haven't put them up on eBay yet. So if you're wrong, I'm going to send you all of mine, and they're going to be drowning in my tears. It's just going to be in a Tupperware container full of salty tears. There'll be these floating flaglets.
The thing is like, if you look at like what GW has said about humans in Age of Sigmar, they basically said the old world humans, they're going to stick around, right?
Yeah.
But they just haven't figured out yet what humans in the mortal realms are going to be like. Like, what are humans from the realm of fire going to be like?
Pissed off.
Yes. with really sweet hands.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Or maybe just like miners or something. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all roaming around, but they're all covered in soot and ash and shit like that.
Yeah, I think that we're eventually going to get humans built out in the same way that they're building out dwarves, with like multiple different factions that kind of complement each other. Yeah. And I think the Devoted of Sigmar, they've really teed up to be one of the factions that they can use as a basis to build out a full-fledged faction out of it.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of the components there already. They've been mentioned in the fluff numerous times. Get out there. Throw like a couple of like one new hero and 2 kits that have multiple weapon loadout options, and suddenly you have a full-fledged force ready to go.
I will hold on to them maybe for another eight months. If nothing comes in 8 months, I think I'm gonna have to say goodbye and make them and use their shelf space for something else. I think
I'm in it for the long haul. I got it all on black, and I am ready whenever that release comes. Because I think
if it's not 8 months, you can have mine for free. Like if it's not 8 months from now, if there isn't any, we'll send you mine. You can have mine. They're all painted, ready to go. I'm not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever use them again if they're not here within the next like 8 to 12 months. Yeah, 8 months.
Have you ever actually put them on the table in Age of Sigmar and played them?
Once.
And were they not incredibly fun?
They are. They're funny, but I didn't have fun watching my armies die. I was like, this was the worst army choice ever. What have I done? What have I put together here? Like this ragtag motley crew. But they didn't last as long as I would have liked them to have. So I haven't been back since. And I think a lot of that though, it comes down to the fact that when you put them in something, that's it. Like you don't have your allegiance ability, then it's just order. Like you can't. They are lacking an army. They're lacking a book.
They get their own book, and they get a prayer book, and their own artifacts, and their own allegiance abilities, and their own battle trait.
Yes, definitely.
They could be ridiculous.
I would be all over that. I would be fucking over it. And if anything, just because the models would look badass. I mean, look at them now. They're pretty old minis, but they're still hilarious. Like a unit of the Flaglets just cracks me up. They look awesome. I'd love to see more of that.
the witch hunters are awesome, and the warrior priests are awesome, and the war altar is awesome.
Yep.
And they are so easy to take like old bits of things and convert them into like unique looking unique looking warrior priests, unique looking witch hunters. Like I converted up, a witch hunter and a warrior priest, like just from bits. Like I have a warrior priest that is like a head swapped liberator. Like painted up in the colors of, the devoted of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Cool. With a head swap and with a little bit of other converted bits that just like make him look even more fluffy and fitting in with the army. Like looks like that was a kit that belonged that way.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool. That is cool. Have you got where is all like? Have you got stuff like that up on Instagram or something?
I do not. I did a video not too long ago. I did 2 videos. One that was like saying goodbye to all of the compendium stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
And then the other one that's like the tour of like what's left of the Freeguild allies, and like I had like all 70 of my flagellants like lined up.
That was I do remember, and there was a couple that fell off their bases or something. They were in the back there.
Yeah, they were just like hanging out in the back.
Yeah. I remember that.
Their bases, they didn't want to re-glue them. I'm lazy. I haven't done that yet.
That's the spirit, buddy. That's the spirit.
Yeah.
Hey, with just going back to your list as well, who you want to call out? Because you've got to call somebody out, man. And I spoke to Mitch, and with the unlocking stuff, he's like, I don't even know if he's got time for breakfast and dinner at the moment because he's just doing unlocking for days.
He's doing like filling all of his time with like work, family, unlocking videos. That's basically his life right now, I think.
So he's happy to judge, but you're going to need to call somebody out.
So here is the challenge that like part of me really wants to call out Tom from Warhammer Weekly. But I know that he is just the man that makes the most disgusting lists that you have ever seen. So I know I'm going to lose.
And you know what? Shout out to Tom. His knowledge on Nurgle has built this whole shelf here. That is all thanks to Tom.
Yeah. What I will give you the sneak peek of the Stormcast nonsense that we are working on. Very similar in concept to his insane zone off the whole battlefield Nurgle list.
Oh God.
Except you're doing it with liberators that are on a 2-up rerollable save.
Fuck. Okay. So in that case, I would say that calling out Tom, it wouldn't be so bad if he had gone first, because then you could probably build a list specifically against that. But you've gone first, my friend. So, but it's up to you. Like, call out whoever you want.
If Mr. Tom is willing, I am willing to meet the challenge, and certainly can attempt to pose the argument that I might not get tabled.
Okay. So, all right. Okay. All right. That's you've got some stones, my friend. Like some of that guys.
I love Freeguild. I know they are not a tier 1 army. Like I just know this. I would love for them to be a tier 1 army. It hurts when you say it.
It hurts when you say it. Just don't say it out loud. All right, just know it on the inside like the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to speak the truth, and they're not a tier 1 army. They're a lot of fun. They are really cool. They are really, really like, for the people out there that want like a real strategic challenge in their games where they want to really have, like, really stretch themselves tactically, they're a really good army for that.
Yeah.
Because they're very unforgiving and they are really intricate in all of their interactions.
Oh, well,
so
you know what's going to be unforgiving and brutal? Tom's list, whatever it is. So
yes.
All right. Well, what we'll have to do then is, Tom, you've been called out, buddy. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what he's going to bring. Like, I'm going through my head and I'm thinking of all the lists and stuff that I've seen of his lately, and then in the past as well. Like, yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, you put me and Tom in a room reading War Scrolls and bouncing ideas off of each other, and you end up with some ridiculous lists and some ridiculous combinations of things, because our brains very much work in the same way and see the same sorts of things as good.
So it's going to be a good matchup then. It's
yes.
All right. All we need to do now is make sure that we can get them together. And hopefully in a week's time, we can chuck that on, and then we'll have both to judge against. And I think that'd be good, because then maybe we can get Mitch and Vince on, because both of them will judge you both cruelly and harshly.
I mean, really, Mitch is just cruel and harsh because he's from New Jersey. I got to give him the New Jersey dig whenever.
I will allow it. I will allow it. There you go. I'm just here as a ref, man. That's all I do. That's all I do. I have a date at a princess parlor for my daughters. So we're going to have to call it a day. Mate,
are you also going to be a princess?
Hey, I'll do whatever the bloody hell I've got to do to make sure that that they have a good time and I do not get in trouble. I'm outnumbered. It is 3 females to 1 dad, and I just got to pick my battles, mate. And today this wasn't one of them.
Yeah,
so the dice stay in the back.
I've got a similar situation. I've only got 1 kid, but daughter, wife, dog's female, cat's female.
Mate, that's
a lot of estrogen in this house. Yeah, I'm outnumbered.
That's counted. I'm 2 daughters and wife. So yeah, 3 against 1. Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to go there, and
you're going to be a pretty princess.
Yes, that is correct. That is, oh God, yes. Mate, thank you so much for
that.
Yeah, I will. Thank you so much for bringing the list and being the first victim. It was actually a really cool list. It's Freeguild, the champions to me, and you've always been the go-to for anything Freeguild that I needed to know. So today's been awesome. I've really enjoyed it. Tom's going to have a hard time up against those gun lines, especially with those abilities. So I'm really keen to see what he brings to it. And I think that you've called out somebody who's going to be a challenge for that list as well, which is really cool. So Thank you a lot for your time today. For anybody who's watching this video, Paul Conti, Mathhammer, check out all of his stuff on YouTube. Do not just watch the first couple. Go back like ages and ages and ages ago, because a lot of your stuff, Paul, is still so relevant. Even stuff that was done in the old GHB, still relevant, and there's still a lot that can be learned there, as well as the unlockings that you've done with Mitch. Invaluable. They are just amazing. So really appreciate your time today, man. Sorry Brinley couldn't make it so that we could just give him shit all day, but what do you do? Yeah, man, that's about it.
Definitely been a lot of fun.
No, anytime. You're more than welcome on anytime, and I really look forward to that Stormcast list. So we're definitely going to have to catch up and talk Stormcast as well.
Yes, we shall.
Well, you talk, and I'll just listen and get schooled. But yeah, we should definitely do that.
I don't know. You have a lot more experience with it on the tabletop. I've got like 8 actual Stormcast models currently. So
all I can say is, no matter what, you can never take too many Liberators.
Unless you're over your points cap.
No, even then, you just argue it. You just argue it, or just keep them in a trade somewhere for moral support. Like, there's never a reason. You take as many as you can. They're amazing. I love them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like their horde discount is so steep that you get your last 5 for 20 points is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you're just like, I'll just take 30 of those, and yeah, I've actually got. Oh, God damn it, I've got 29. I've got 29, and there's one somewhere that I got for free from a White Dwarf magazine back in the day that was going to make 30, and I've got to remember where I put it so I can actually get that horde discount. But yes, Raiders for days, man, do it. But again, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate the time that you spent today going through your list and just talking shit about other armies as well. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, mate, from 14 hours into the future, by the way, things are looking pretty good for Stormcast still. So, you know, you're good for another 14 hours at least here in Aussie. All right. On that note, we are out of here, guys. Thank you very much again to Paul, and we will see you guys in hopefully about a week on AUSHAMMER. Cheers.